Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you're tuning into tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. My name is Tonshi Prusak, and I'm your host for tonight's episode. And it's Season 7, Episode 12, and in total, it's our 162nd episode. We thank you for being part of tonight's show, and boy, what a show we got lined up for you tonight. Lots of news happening over the weekend, and including the culmination of the Victorian Junior Country Championships, which was held in Albury, Wodonga, and finished earlier today. And we've got all the results from the Geelong teams and how they fared. We've also got we've got a champion amongst all those teams, so we'll find out a little bit later on which team did so well at this year's Country Champs. As far as our guests, well, we've got some fantastic guests tonight. We're profiling the Golden Plains Soccer Club, who was one of 3 local recipients of the Football Victoria Club Development Grant. And we'll be speaking to the President, Donna Mott, and also the Vice President, Brett Cunningham, from the Golden Plains Soccer Club. I caught up with them over the course of the weekend, and it's one of those clubs, one of the local community clubs we don't get an opportunity to hear much about or to find out what's happening. So tonight, we're going to get to know the Bannockburn-based club a little bit better. Also, we're going to be travelling overseas to Europe, to Croatia precisely, where we'll be interviewing former Geelong Rangers, Geelong and North Geelong Junior, Arman Vezovic, who these days plays for Croatian Premier League club HNK Gorica, which is on the outskirts of the nation's capital in Zagreb. And he plays in the junior, or they call it over there, the youth league, the under-19 youth league, in the same division as another Geelong product, Noah Skorko, who plays for Hajduk Split. We'll be catching up with Arman a little bit later on in the show, and he's got some very, very interesting things to talk about and some very interesting words of advice for any budding young footballer looking to make it big in football. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming on a little bit later on. Well, our show wouldn't come out if it wasn't for the valuable support and the generous support of our sponsors. So a big shout out to our major sponsor, the Gordon. As you can see right behind me, we've got the Gordon logo behind us. And also our main business advertising sponsors, Curva Coaching and Just Turfing Instant Turf, and also to tonight's business advertising sponsor, J Hill Books as well. We're nearing the end of the financial year, so if you've got a small business and you are looking to offload some of that money because of tax purposes, advertising and or sponsoring a show such as the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast is something very, very attractive. So if you are interested, do contact us, communitysportsmedia@gmail.com, or private message us via our various social media platforms. Speaking of our sponsors, we're going to have a word from our major sponsor, and then after that, it's time for tonight's news desk.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready, and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Yes, indeed, it is the time for our news desk. And some interesting results over the weekend in Victorian Premier League competition. Goulburn Valley Suns hosted the North Geelong Warriors, and the Warriors came away with an emphatic 5-2 win. Sonny Brimmer scoring a hat-trick, Lockie McGrath scoring for the second week in a row, and Cassian Angel also scoring the goal for the Warriors, a 5-2 win over the Goulburn Valley Suns up in Shepparton on Saturday night. Geelong hosted the Springvale White Eagles, and unfortunately the Lions weren't able to take 3 points from the clash with the Eagles. 1-4 loss with Liam O'Connell scoring the Lions' only goal. Geelong Galaxy had a bye in round 11, but they did have a Nike FC Cup match last Thursday. And what a game that was. A high-scoring affair against the Bayside Argonauts. And the Argonauts in the end running out winners via a penalty shootout, only courtesy of a penalty shootout. 5-4 in the end in a penalty shootout. But after extra time, it was 4-4. Goals for Galaxy scored by Hannah Laro Bashford, Diana Fresneda, Christy Merry, and Emily Sutcliffe. Turning our attention to this weekend as far as the VPL and the VPLW, it's round 18 for the Victorian Premier League 2 division, and both our Geelong teams will be playing away from home, in fact, at the same time on Saturday evening. The Warriors, who are currently in second spot, they take on Whittlesea United, who are in 12th position in the 14-team competition. That game at Epping Stadium, kicking off at 6 p.m. Geelong have got a really tough game against third-place Brunswick Juventus at CB Smith Reserve, and that game kicking off at 6 p.m. In the Victorian Premier League Women's Competition, round 12 this Sunday, Geelong Galaxy hosting fourth-place Calder United at Myers Reserve. Kickoff there is at 3:30 p.m. On to the State League, the Men's State League, some very interesting results. Keilor Park pulled a last-minute equaliser to draw against Corio. Now, Keilor Park are on top of the State League 1 competition standings. Steve Fidel scoring in the 85th minute and Keilor Park equalising in the 89th minute. Now, I know Santino Momone is watching this, as he does every week, and he really does promote and push the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Santino, thank you for keeping me up to date with all the scores from Corio on Saturday night. Really well appreciated. Geelong Rangers came up against Whittlesea Rangers last Saturday. The Rangers versus the Rangers. It was a 3-0 win to the visitors from Whittlesea in the end. In State League 3 action, Surf Coast travelled to third-placed Heidelberg Stars. A victory here was so important to create a buffer between the second and third-place teams. And Surf Coast did very well with a 4-2 win. To have the goal scorers there from the weekend. Deakin Ducks came up against Keilor Wolves, and in a very high-scoring affair there, Keilor Wolves defeated the Ducks 5-4, and Sam White scored a hat-trick. So well done to Sam. He did extraordinarily well there. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to, that individual result or individual achievement wasn't enough to give the Ducks the 3 points, and the Wolves came away, as I said, with all 3 points. The big local derby, Bowen and Lara United at Grovedale Reserve on Saturday night. 3-1 in favour of Lara United. Aleo Basilio, the Argentine import, he scored for the second week running for Bowen, but it was a Tristan McGrath double and a far day 2, I hope I pronounced that correctly, goal ensured that Lara United jumped up to 9th position after being previously on the bottom. Bell Park defeated Point Cook 3-1, in fact, not 3-2. Lucas Rabayati scoring 2 goals again. I think his season's tally now is 15 goals in 7 games, something like that. Xander Milanovic also scoring in that game, 3-1 victory for Bell Park against Point Cook. And Bell Park solidify their position in second spot. Ocean Grove, they came up against the top team, Newport Storm, who have not lost a game or who have not even dropped any points all season. So fantastic achievement there by Ocean Grove to basically knock off the top team, but also to inflict their first loss or draw. So well done to Dan Benson's men. David Favetta, Ollie Honeyford, and Finlay Lawrence scoring the goals there for Ocean Grove. Over the page now, let's look at the fixtures for. There's going to be a bye this week, so we've come to the 11th round, completed 11 rounds. That means we're at the halfway mark of the season. A catch-up round coming up this weekend, so no games in the Men's State League competition, but these are the fixtures for Saturday week. Yarraville taking on Corio, Geelong Rangers versus Mill Park, Surf Coast at home to Diamond Valley United, and then in State League 4, Bell Parker away to Melbourne City, Lara United host Melton Phoenix, and then the big Geelong derby, Bowen versus Deakin Ducks at Grovedale Reserve, and State League 5, Ocean Grove away to Wyndham FC. Women's State League, North Geelong came away from Fawkner, lowly Fawkner. It was a tough game, but they came away with all 3 points, 4-3, courtesy of goals to Zoe Storcic, Louisa Kump, Marcella Fierro, and Maeve McKenna. This Saturday, the Warriors will have a standalone game at Alco Park. On Saturday, kickoff is at 3 p.m. when the Warriors host 9th place Kings Domain. So one of the few games in Geelong this weekend. So if you're not doing anything this Saturday, head out to Alco Park and watch the North Geelong Warriors women do battle against Kings Domain in round 8 of the Women's State League 1 competition. Now, as we mentioned, the Victorian Country Championships are being played at the moment, or were being played up until today, up in Albury-Wodonga. And thanks to Tyler Stavenuta, we have the results of the Geelong team. So the under-11 boys North, they just missed out on the finals, finished in 6th position. The under-11 boys South, they missed out on finals and finished in 7th overall. The under-12 boys got to the semis, but they lost 3-1 to FFS. That's Shepparton, I think it is. Under-13 boys, they lost their semi-final 1-0 after extra time to the BASL, that's a Ballarat, I think, or Bendigo League. The under-14 boys missed out on the finals altogether. They finished in fifth position. The under-16 boys, they were runners-up. They lost in the grand final to Albury-Wodonga 1-0. Well done to the under-16 boys. The under-11 girls, the champions. Congratulations to the under-11 girls. Well done. Coached there by former Socceroo Adrian Leyer and also the director of Curva Coaching Geelong, who was also our guest on last week's show, assisted by Stipe Kump from North Geelong. So well done to the under-11 girls. They were champions. They defeated Bendigo 1-0 in the final. The under-12 girls got to the grand final. They lost 2-1 to Albury-Wodonga. So well done to them, runners-up. The under-14 girls, they got to the final. They lost the grand final after it was 0-0 after regular time. They lost 2-4 in penalties also to Bendigo. Runners-up, well done to the under-14 girls as well. And the under-16 girls, they lost in the semi-final 6-0 to Albury-Wodonga. Now, apart from the players, there was also a local referee that did very, very well. And the Geelong Rangers Football Club, in a post earlier today, said a massive congratulations to their former Geelong Rangers player, Charlie Alexander, who today was named the referee of the tournament at the Country Championships in Wodonga. Well done. Charlie came through our junior ranks before turning his focus to refereeing full-time, and it's incredible to see his hard work and dedication paying off. We couldn't be prouder of everything he's achieved. Well done to Charlie. Well, we all say here, well done to Charlie Alexander as well. We've got another one of these talented young referees in the region doing exceptionally well. So hopefully next week, by the way, we will have Mike McKinstry, the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, and also Tyler Stavenuta, who was the coordinator for all the Geelong rep teams. They will be joining us on next week's show to talk about all the country championships news and wrap-ups and all the information that has come from there. We'll also be hopefully speaking to Mike about some footage that he took and go over to the Football Geelong social media pages of the amazing facilities that they have up there in Albury-Wodonga. The regional facility up there is, and it's something that we so desperately need down here in Geelong. We know that. Everyone knows that. It's just time to now start squeezing those politicians to give us funding to be able to do that. On a sad note, or on a rather, I guess it's an angry note, on a negative, we're going to finish today's news desk with news that one of the region clubs around here, the Geelong region area, down up the highway, up the Princess Highway in Hoppers Crossing. The Hoppers Crossing Soccer Club was broken into earlier this morning, and a huge amount of damage to the property. Drinks were stolen from the canteen and a laptop as well stolen from the office. If you go over to the Hoppers Crossing Soccer Club, or even on our Facebook pages, there's also a news report from Wyndham TV, and it shows some very, very good footage of the three intruders, and very clear footage as well. So if anyone does know anything, please contact Crime Stoppers, make contact with the club direct. But it's certainly it is not a good thing, and certainly not what we want to see. On that note, folks, that's the end of tonight's news desk. A lot to cover, and we're now going to take a short break. When we return, we'll be catching up with the Golden Plains President, Donna Mott, and the Vice President, Brett Cunningham, as well, to find out a little bit about what is happening at the Bannockburn-based club. Folks, don't go away. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show you are watching. Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Books to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. Based in Lara, Geelong, J Hill Books owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. The world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Books services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. You will know how your business is tracking as often as you need, whether that is on a weekly, monthly or quarterly basis. You can be satisfied that you are meeting your legal requirements to your staff and to the ATO. And deadlines will no longer be stressful for you. Let J Hill Books take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and we're coming to you from Bannockburn, from the Golden Plains Soccer Club, and with me here today, I've got the pleasure of having a chat with the President of the Golden Plains Soccer Club, Donna Mott. Donna, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, and welcome to Golden Plains and Bannockburn Soccer Club.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. It's one of those clubs, I guess, unfortunately, we don't have an opportunity to know too much about, but that's all going to change with today's interview. And one of the things, I guess, the catalyst for this interview has been a grant that the Golden Plains Soccer Club received from Football Victoria in the last week or so. Tell us a little bit more about the Club Development Program grant.
Yes, we were lucky enough to receive the Club Development Grant. We thank Football Victoria for awarding us this grant and giving us the opportunity to invest in our coaches' development. That's what we were putting it into, so we're very grateful.
Now, coaches development, that's something that we've talked about on this show in the past. And last week when we had Adrian Laird-Curver coaching Geelong, one of our main business advertising sponsors, he talked about how important it is to invest in coaches, because if you've got good coaches, obviously you're going to be developing very good players. And a club like this is constantly growing, as is football in Geelong in general. How important is having good quality coaches at a club like Golden Plains?
Oh, definitely. It's important, for our kids to have the opportunity to grow with the coaches. But also, we've had a lot of parents that step up, put their hand up to volunteer and be coaches, and we felt it important to give them support.
Yeah.
Through the coaching courses. I happen to be lucky enough to attend the Football Victoria Experience Day up at the Matildas in March, and Rob Taylor was launching his CCC course, and I happened to attend that with him, and we could see the benefits that would be for our club. So we ran with that, with the grant. We promoted that course, and that's where we.
And when you invest in your coaches, so for example, there's either development programs or coaching courses or sending them to do that. Do you find that the longevity of the courses of the coaches themselves is increased, i.e., they tend to stay not just for one season or a couple of seasons, they actually like it, they fall in love with the vocation and end up being, well, we won't say career coaches, but long-term coaches?
Yeah, definitely. Just coming from my own experience, actually, I've been here with my son for 6 years, and for the first year last year, I became an under-sevens coach, and it was so rewarding for me. So, and I just believe that giving these parents the support will help them stay around and give them the skills.
Yep.
As much to stay around and want to be a part of the club and grow with the club.
And has there been a marked increase in the number of parents stepping up to coach their kids, or is a club like Golden Plains still struggling with, could always do with more coaches?
Oh, most definitely. I think these coaching courses are detrimental to the growth of the club and to the sport, to be honest. So we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to have Emily Sutcliffe come out, and she ran a session here, and it was well supported by our parents and coaches, and we were honoured to to have her knowledge support us and guide us.
Yeah, and Emily was on the show, so if you haven't seen the interview with Emily, go on our YouTube channel and you can see the interview with Emily, and she makes a really good point about particularly female coaches as well. In years gone by, a lot of women mums, for example, have been reluctant to get on board the coaching caper. But Donna, you said yourself you got involved and you found it to be very rewarding. What would be your word of advice, not as president, but as a soccer mum turned coach? What would be your advice to other mums thinking about taking it up, or partners, or older sisters even?
Well, definitely. It's great to have the equality, in the sport. To be honest, to have as many women as men coaching, and I'm sure that with all the girls coming through, they'd be happy to have their mums coaching also. But yeah, as a mum that's coached, I believe it was extremely rewarding to watch the kids grow through the season. Enjoyed seeing the growth of the kids through the
fantastic. Season. That's awesome. Well, we certainly hope that the club development grant will help attract even more coaches, and those coaches that are going to be invested in, if you like, for want of a better word, that they're going to be hanging around for a long, long time yet, and we'll see a lot of kids, because Golden Plains is a growing area, and it's a club that is growing. So we certainly need more coaches, isn't that the case?
Yeah, definitely do. Yeah, well, I'm lucky enough to have support of 8 other passionate committee members that have the same vision. So yeah, we look forward to watching this club grow. Awesome,
thank you very much, Donna Mott, the president of the Golden Plains Soccer Club.
Thank you.
Awesome. And now we're joined by the Golden Plains Soccer Club's Vice President, Brett Cunningham. Brett, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out to our club this morning.
Yeah. Now, we just spoke to the president, Donna. She told us all about the grant that the club's been lucky to receive. Now, let's talk about the club itself. Well, first of all, let's talk about you. How you got involved in the club, because you're telling me off air you're kind of relatively new to the club, but you've got an interesting story about how you got involved with the club.
I have, yeah. So I've looked at it this way for about 40 years. And I used to come up on a Saturday afternoon and watch the seniors play soccer on Saturday. I used to play when I was a lot younger at Rangers in Geelong. And then they sort of stopped playing on the Saturday. But then I got on council and I had 4 years as a councillor. So I got to know a bit more about the community sporting clubs throughout the Shire. And I take a particular interest in this club because it's just around the corner from where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to come up, and then I contacted by a couple of the members on the committee. The club had a bit of a relaunch the middle of last year. Some new committee members come on, and they contacted me to see if I'd like to join them. And I could see, the dedication and the commitment to the club. And as Donna said before, they've really got a strong push and focus on getting more girls to play sport. And I've got two grown-up daughters now that used to play sport. So I just really liked what they were doing and what the vision is. And I've been on board now for probably about 6 months.
Excellent, fantastic. And the clubs, for those that haven't come up here because the facilities are absolutely fantastic, and the club just seems to grow. And as you mentioned, when the club was in playing state league on a weekend, there's only one pitch here.
Yep.
Now there's two pitches. There's floodlights. The club rooms have been expanded, so it's a wonderful facility. Tell us a bit about the club. How many players have you got? And
so it is a great facility. As you said, we get a lot of positive feedback from clubs that come and play here and visit. It is a great facility. We're going really well. We've got nearly 20 junior teams, so we've got nearly 190 juniors playing. We thought we'd struggle for a men's team this year, but we've got 3 men's teams. And we've also got a senior women's team, which is great. So we're looking around about 240 registered players.
Wow,
which is great. And as Donna probably covered before, you come up, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday nights. Both pitches are being fully utilised. Lots of parents helping out. The coaching's been great. As Donna probably once again, the club has put a lot of money in to facilities for coaching the coaches. We realise that for us to move forward and have a bit of a vision, we need to have people in place that will have coaching abilities to help the kids grow. But also we've got the canteen open now. That does good trade. We do meals on a Wednesday night afterwards for players. That's been going really well. And a few of the clubs, local clubs, I think Lara and I think might have been North Geelong or Deakin, I think they've come out and used the soccer pitch, and they've been very kindly. They've gave us a bit of a fee for that.
Oh, excellent.
And
that's what we like to see, clubs helping each other here in Geelong.
That was the other thing that I really took notice of when it came on. There seems to be a real culture of all the clubs supporting and working together, which I think is really great.
Mm.
And as I say, we've also put a bit of focus on the committee. We've got a really good committee, and what we've done there, we've now got a marketing sponsorship manager, and as you can see behind us,
I was just noticing that we've got some advertising boardings, which
and that money that sponsorships give us, we've allowed that to put the back into the club. So we've bought a heap of new appropriate match ball or soccer balls for the kids that can play. We've bought some new soccer goals. Every team now has got a proper first aid kit, so we make sure that the money that we're getting in, we're putting back into the club.
Yeah. Now, mate, you've mentioned that you were on the council, so you know this area well, the Golden Plains Council, that is. Know this area well, and it's a growing area like most parts of Geelong. What isn't growing? But there's always obviously teething problems, growth problems, etc. Lots of people moving to this area, to this community. Is the club struggling to sort of field all these players and inquiries, or is there enough coaches, or is it just not, maybe 2 fields is not enough? How is the club sort of handling the growth of the community around it?
It is. It's one of the I think it's about the second growth area in not just the Shire, but in Victoria. South Bannockburn will go online in a couple of years' time, and that will probably bring about another 7,500 people into the area. But no, look, what we've done is we've got, as I say, once again, it goes back to having good people on the committee. We're very structured, so we make sure that we've got enough area for people to train on each night of the week, so there's no crossovers. And also with the fixtures on the Saturday and Sundays, that seems to work out very well. Next weekend we've got mini roos. I haven't been involved with a mini roos before, but apparently that's a massive day for the club.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know for a personal experience where my son was involved, it's just a big gala event, and that now is so big that you can't even hold it at one venue. It ends up having to be at multiple venues, so that's fantastic.
And the other thing I was going to add to you too, with council, we've got a really good relationship with the Golden Plain Shire Council, and the council really acknowledges the role that sporting clubs play within the community. And as I said, we've got not only the soccer club, but we've got the Bannockburn Cricket Club, and also we've got the football club. So we realise that as we were talking about before, it's a place where the young people can come along with their families, they can play sport, but it's also that social engagement, connectivity with the community. Yeah. And that's something this club does very well.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that your first interaction with the club was when the club did play state league many, many years ago. Or not that many years ago, but several years ago. Is there any kind of, like, now that there's three men's teams when you thought you'd struggle to get one, and there's a senior women's team as well, has there been any thought to eventually maybe one day, getting back into the state league competitions?
I think at the moment, and we have discussed it, is we've got to make sure that we've got a pathway, because we've got some very, very, and that was one of the things when I started coming along. I've been blown away by the talent of some of the children that we have at this club. So what we want to do is make sure there's a pathway going forward. So as those young people coming through, hopefully we won't lose them to other clubs in the region.
Yep.
And we want to be a club where, and we've picked up players from other clubs. So we want to be a club that people want to be part of, but also want to come and join.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it seems like there's some very, very positive things happening up here in Bannockburn, and we look forward to watching with great interest the ongoing development of the club. So thank you, Brett, for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Thank you.
Just Turfing Instant Turf is a local, family-owned and operated company which guarantees top-quality products and service. Whether you need turf for a small front garden or a large landscaping project, Just Turfing Instant Turf are the turf installer experts you can trust. They supply and install for most major landscapers in Melbourne and Geelong, with a wide range of premium instant turf and a full suite of turf care products. Chloe and the team at Just Turfing are sure to have all your turf needs covered. Their Melbourne, Geelong and Victorian regional distribution means they can supply your area with fresh cut turf installed the same day, hassle-free. Turf options that are available include Eureka Kikuyu, Santa Ana, Tiff Tuff, Sir Walter Buffalo and Sir Grange. For more information, contact either Chloe on 0431 571 558 or Josh on 0457 174 111. And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Look, in my line of work, I have the privilege of being able to speak to a lot of talented young footballers who are at various stages of their development. And our next guest is someone that lots and lots of people in Geelong know. He started off his football as a junior at Geelong Rangers. Then he moved to Geelong and to North Geelong before making the move to Western United. Then having a stint at South Melbourne. And then a trial eventuated in Europe, and he finds himself now in Croatia on the outskirts of Zagreb, the capital city, playing for HNK Gorica's youth team in the Croatian Youth League. Of course, I'm talking about Arman Vezovic, who joins us now directly from Croatia, from Gorica. Arman, good evening and welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Look, it's very, very cold over here. Winter's really starting to settle in. But you're over there where summer is just about to start. Lucky you.
Yeah, I was just tanning about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, far out. Don't make us jealous. But no, look, mate, congratulations on your European move. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But
yeah.
I guess for those that do know you and for those that don't know, you tell us a little bit about your footballing history. You started off at the Geelong Rangers. Was it the under sevens there?
Yes, under sevens Geelong Rangers, yes.
Yeah.
And then I played there for, I think it was, to be honest, only a season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to just, I guess, rock up at a Geelong Soccer Club training session, see how it was. And back then it wasn't NPL, so you could kind of just join since it was community. So it wasn't necessarily a trial. It was more just a training session to see how I found it. Stuff like that. And then, it was good quality. There was a lot of good boys because back then, I'm sure you know of Oscar Tanich. He was there. You know, Mitch Groz, all these young players, really good. And I joined Geelong Soccer Club, and from around under 8s all the way through to under 13s, I was at Geelong Soccer Club.
And that's when the NPL started coming, was it?
Yes, so
that was the pre-NPL.
Under 12s was my first season of NPL. That's when Geelong made it into NPL. And so basically everyone had to trial for an NPL spot. Fortunately, I got in. So was in NPL at Geelong for basically 2 seasons, but I more count the one because then the next season was when COVID hit. So it was there wasn't really a season in under 13. Yeah, and then
let's go back to that time when it was just such a crap time for everyone, but for young footballers, it just meant the interruption to the development pathway, your own individual pathway. How frustrating was it for you personally?
I think I speak for a lot of kids when I say when it started, it was kind of cool, get a time off school and stuff like that. And then maybe I'd say a month into it, it was, getting really repetitive. It was, okay, I actually miss school now. I miss socializing. I miss everything. And then especially with the soccer part, it was, obviously we weren't allowed to train. I mean, with the club and all, but me and my friends, we would break that. What was that rule where there was, not allowed, not allowed more than 5 people. Would probably around 20 of us would just go to, Geelong Rangers pitch and just kick about from, I'd say around 1:30 all the way to 7:30 at night.
Oh, so that's like the good old days. That's like what my childhood was like. That sounds awesome. And then after that, you kind of made the move into NPL football. Over to North Geelong, is that right?
Yes, I started my under 14s season. I was at North Geelong and played that season all the way through to under 15s at North Geelong. And I think under 14s is when I started taking it a lot more serious.
Okay.
Because it was when you're around 12 years old, you just get into high school. You got a lot of stuff going through your head on, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? You start just desiring what those teenage boys would desire.
Okay. So you're like, I think we know where that's going down. Yeah. That's great.
So you're just, you're thinking, what do you really want? But it was around under 14s when I started at North, that's when I really enjoyed playing and really wanted to take it serious. And because that's when I guess you could say I realized I had a lot more potential than I thought I did. So, after under 15s at North, I wanted to take it to the next level, and that's when West United invited players out to trial. And so, I trialed with Western for a few weeks, like maybe 6-7 weeks.
Okay.
Before I got in, and then when I got in, that was that. It was.
Yeah. So looking back at your time at the Geelong clubs, Rangers, then Geelong, then North Geelong, 3 great clubs, 3 fantastic clubs with great junior setups. Who were some of the key, I guess, coaches and maybe even some of the identities at those clubs that really kind of helped you, that sort of stick in your mind for whatever reason, but were really fundamental towards your development?
2 definitely that stand out straight away would be Matthew Betts and Romeo. I'm not sure how to pronounce Romeo's last name.
Oh, Romeo Puglia,
I've never known how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
But Romeo and Matt Betts from Geelong Soccer Club, they were really, I guess, good mentors, you could say. They really pushed me and made me realize what I could be soccer-wise.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. And what was it kind of that really sort of helped you at that time? Was it the confidence? Was it the technical skill side of things? Was it the kind of pushing you, the discipline? What was the kind of the thing that really kind of pushed you down that path of where you are now?
I think when I first started NPL, it definitely wasn't confidence, because one of the coaches I met that I just mentioned, Matt Betts, he would watch training and then he'd pull me aside and say, why don't you do that in a game? Like, is it a fear of losing the ball, a fear of failure? And at that time, it kind of was. I don't know why, I put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself back then, and especially now. I still do. I think that just comes with part of playing, to be honest, and wanting to make people proud. But yeah, he said, just try and put that all in the back of your head, or just eliminate it from your game and play the way you would, or as if you would just go for a kick with your mates.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's only junior football, and you've got nothing to lose. I guess that's my advice. You've got nothing to lose. You want to show everyone what you've got. And
that is really, really good advice for anyone listening to this show, any young people listening to this show. And sometimes it's not the coaches, it's not the parents that are instilling the pressure. Sometimes it can be, but it's a lot of the time it's the kids themselves putting these really, really, I'll even say unrealistic expectations, which ultimately leads to pressure. And that is a really good piece of advice. So thank you, Armand, for that. But we're moving along now. So we've gone to Western United. Things are a bit serious. Intensity is a lot more training than what you're used to, standard football and all of that kind of thing. What's the next thing that happens then?
Also, like you said, training was getting better. It was getting a lot more intense. I was playing with players that were at a lot higher level than what they usually were that I would train with.
Yep.
Especially because cream of the crop, just selected the best kids they could find, I guess. Yep. So it was a really good experience to be in an academy for the first time, because it's an eye opener. You get to see kind of what it's like to step into a professional standard, I guess, with training more than what you would in NPL, more coaching. The warm-ups are a lot more serious. The warm-ups at Western were probably like 35 minutes before we'd start actually kicking a ball.
Yep.
So, but under 16s, to be honest, it was really good under 16s at Western. I started every game, like barely was on the bench. Not trying to brag, like I'm just
No, they're just explaining how it was.
Yeah, barely on the bench. Started every game. It was really good. And then coming into the under 18s season, that's when it started to go downhill. It was at the start of the season, I was told one thing, like, we can really see you pushing the 21s, 23s and stuff like that. And then a week later, I found myself on the bench almost every game.
Yeah.
So it was, it puts a lot in your head, especially as a young player. And when you don't think you're doing anything wrong as well, it really does mess with you. So that's when we kind of made the decision, look, it's an academy. You've got that A-League opportunity, but in the end, when you're not playing, are you really going to get that A-League opportunity? So it's more of just going somewhere where you're going to develop more and get more opportunity anyway. And so that's when we made the contact with South Melbourne, and I went over there. And from there, it was, I don't regret it at all. South Melbourne was a really good choice, I believe.
Yeah.
I did.
And what was, look, that's a tough decision. You're in an A-League academy. There's the pathway that exists in this country, i.e. going through the A-League academies to professional football. But now you sort of, in a way, and South Melbourne are a big club. Let's call it how it is. But it's almost like you kind of, in a lot of people's eyes, maybe even in your eyes, it would have been a case of take one step back, but to take two steps forward, isn't it? It's kind of
yes.
And
Because
how harrowing was that decision to walk away from Western United and go to a club like South Melbourne?
yeah, no, it was. Yeah, it took me a while to make the decision. I was very scared. I'll be honest, because
Yeah,
from being young and being in an academy, all you're thinking about is just that one chance you might get with the A League. You know,
yeah,
just that one opportunity, and to walk kind of not even get kicked out, to actually push yourself away from it yourself is, yeah, it took a lot of guts to do, but in the end, maybe after 2 weeks, you just forget about it, and you got to realize that academies aren't everything. They can be, but most of the time, if you're not a favorite player and if you're not really well known in that system, then most chances are it won't go well for you. That's my experience with academies. And so, yeah.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
Well, we're speaking with Arman Avizovic, former Geelong boy, who now is doing great things in Croatia. But Armin, after leaving Western United, you got to South Melbourne, and how did you find that? Was it a bit of a shock to the system, or surprisingly, their training and all of that, the methodology used in training was very, very at a high standard, maybe similar to Western United?
Yeah, so when I first got to South, the thing I noticed straight away was just the difference in facilities, because we just had the brand new ironbark fields built and stuff, so synthetic, amazing grass. But it was really that first training session after because I had one trial with South. I had to trial, I'm not, God's gift, so I had to trial. And it was after that trial and I made it, and I had a first training session where I kind of realized, academies aren't everything people make it out to be. I was playing with boys that aren't in academies, but from my experience could definitely be in academies. Considering I played with all the boys, this and that. So I know what the standard's like. And so it was after that first training session where I really I forgot about that academy, fear of leaving that A-League opportunity. Yeah. I was getting the same development as I would have at Western anyway. So it's nothing to worry about for, I guess, any future players that are thinking of leaving an academy. So.
Yeah. And then how did the call from Croatia, from HNK Gorica come about?
Yeah, so we had a contact. So I guess you could say my uncle, he knew an agent overseas.
Yep.
And he let that agent know, hey, I've got a nephew here. We want to give him a shot, because obviously Australia, it's very different to football. Obviously there's a lot of politics here, but in Australia it's a very different political game.
Yeah. Yep.
So we want to give him a shot in Europe. And so the agent said, all right, put some clips together from the video, this and that, and I will send that through to the connections I have. And one of those connections were Gorica. So I sent them a video, and they said, yeah, very interesting player. We want to see him. And then it took probably 4 months for that whole process to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 4 months I was, just training, playing at South. And then eventually the agent got back to us and was like, hey, Gorica are interested. You got to leave now. And so, yeah, it was all very quick.
Wow. But I guess when the opportunity presents itself, you don't hesitate. Yeah. You just grab it as quickly as possible. And I guess for that are not familiar, Gorica is on the outskirts of Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. I guess it's like Werribee to Melbourne, or
exactly.
Lara to Geelong, but something along those lines. And how did you find the move over there? Language, could you speak the language? Being of Bosnian extraction, could you sort of communicate, or how was that, number one?
When I first came here, I could already understand 60% of the language. But I couldn't really speak it because at home, just say if my dad's speaking to me, I'd respond in English. So I didn't really build that, I guess, language speaking ability. But it was all kind of general knowledge, I guess you could say. And the terminology used on the fields, this and that, it's pretty simple to get your head around. And as long as you know what they're saying on the field, that's the most important part, because everyone here, their English is amazing anyway. So it's not like you have to worry about that language barrier. So.
And over there they call the juniori, or the juniors, the actual youth team. So it's like the under-19 team. And were you training exclusively with the under-19 team, or do you get a chance to train with the seniors?
So when I first came, I was obviously just trialing with the under-19s. And we were supposed to have a practice game against the seniors, since in Croatia there's no under-21s, under-23s. Like it's straight, it's your under-19s juniori, and then it's straight like senior football.
Seniors,
Yeah. So,
is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Do we need to have should there be something like a bridging comp, maybe an under-21s or under-23s before the senior football?
Here, it's not a bad thing just because of how much they delay that. For example, in Australia, you have a lot of 2008 borns in the academies playing in the under-23s. So massive jump. While here, in the under-19s, there is a lot of, everyone's basically 19.
Right.
19,
so they play,
even some 20-year-olds. So it's strictly your age group. There is barely anyone that plays up 2 years. Maximum 1 year, except for some exceptions. You will have maybe 2 players playing up 2 years above their own age group, but it is very rare here in Croatia. They keep it very strict with age groups.
And do you find that that's a good thing or a bad thing? Like, is it a lack of opportunity, or is it's actually you're ready for that next stage? You're really your development is at a perfect sort of a level.
Me personally, I don't think it's an issue, just because there isn't really a gap between a 19 and 20-year-old to a 25-year-old in terms of physical and muscle maturity, if you know what I mean. By the time, fair enough if you were 16 and, you shot straight up into the seniors, but by the time you're 18, 19, 20, me personally, I don't think there should be an excuse on why you can't handle with the seniors, since you're practically fully grown by now, 18, 19, 20. So I think it works out.
Now the youth league there in Croatia, it's national. There's 16 teams, as we can see. Gorica did very well, finishing in 4th position. Now the team above you, Hajduk Split, of course, a big club, and Dinamo Zagreb, the 2 biggest clubs in Croatia. Another Geelong boy playing at Hajduk Split, Noah Skorkov, formerly from Geelong. Did you get a chance to sort of catch up with him, or did you know each other before?
We weren't friends, but we knew of each other because we played at the same club, North Geelong Warriors, at the same time period. However, I think he's exactly a year older than me. So but he was always a top level player anyway. So when I was in under 14s, I think he was under 18s, something like that. And then when I was under 15s, he was getting shots with the seniors and stuff. And then I think it was when I moved to Western, he moved to Hajduk.
But did you have a chance to catch up on the field or afterwards or anything like that?
No, because I came halfway through the season, so I missed out on quite a bit of games. So, and I'm pretty sure Noah was injured anyway. So I'm not too sure. Yeah. And he's got a scholarship as well with Hajduk, so I'm pretty sure he's training like strictly first team now.
Yeah. And back to you, mate. What's the plans now for next season? So the season's just finished there over there. Are you going to have a little bit of a break? Are you coming back to Australia, or you're going to training resumes very, very shortly?
Well, so it all depends on the visa situation. I gotta wait to see if that comes back, because if I leave now, I won't be able to come back for like 3 years. So
wow! Oh gosh!
Yeah. So if that all works out well by next week, I'll come back to Australia just for a little break. Because even my agent said he wants me at least 2 weeks to just not think about a ball and just forget about everything and just relax, let the body rest, and then I think June 20th is when we have a pre-season of the pre-season.
Okay.
So
that's not long to go. That's like, what, 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
Around. That's even you get 4 weeks annual leave, I guess, for holidays. Over there, it's like 2-3 weeks and straight back into it. Wow. But that's what professional football is all about, isn't it? Like, that's what you live for, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not really. I couldn't care less about taking a break from soccer itself. You know what I mean? It's my life. Like, kicking a ball is the only thing I can picture myself doing anyway. It's more just being away from so many people. When you have that chance of a break, you want to just go see them and then return. So
well, here's your opportunity. Who would you like to say cheerio back home in Geelong to?
There's a lot of people I'd like to say hi to. I don't think I want to mention, just because if I miss someone's name.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's awesome. But maybe a word of advice or two for young potential or footballers with great potential who are looking at doing something like what you've done. What would be a couple of words of advice to them?
I think the biggest thing is just don't give up and work as hard as possible, and try not to focus too much on social media. That's a big thing for me now, especially this day and age, because you see players like Lamine Yamal playing for Barcelona first team, same age as me, or heaps of other players. And it puts in your head, well, what am I doing? I'm the same age, but I'm only in an academy level, but the main part is opportunity. Never put it in your head that you can't get at that level, because given the opportunity, almost anyone, if they really want to, can perform and play at the highest level. But a lot of people give up. So my main thing is don't give up and don't focus too much on social media. That's my number one thing. Just don't give up, no matter what.
Absolutely fantastic words of advice there. That is absolutely brilliant, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. I hope that a lot of people do tune in and listen to those wise words of advice from you. And wishing you all the best. And we certainly will be looking and watching your career with a lot of interest. So, Arman, good on you, and all the very, very best for your next stage in your career.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me again. Really appreciate it. It was a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
Good on you. Arman Vezovic coming to us from Gorica on the outskirts of Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. And gosh, were they not some absolute pieces of gold as far as advice for any young budding footballer looking to take it to the next level. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break, and when we return, we'll be back with the Geelong Region Soccer Show. I'm not going to lie. That was one of my most favourite interviews this year with young Arman Vezovic, and simply for the words of advice that he provides for budding young footballers And hopefully all those kids that are at the country championships, all those kids playing NPL football, NPL girls football, boys, hopefully they'll see snippets of that interview, because what he talks about, especially the not giving up and the social media bit, I think is absolute gold. Awesome, folks. Thank you so much for being a part of this week's episode of Geelong Region Soccer Show. As I said, it is our 162nd episode. Next week, next Monday night, we will have a full post-mortem, if you like, of the country championships that were held this weekend up in Albury-Wodonga. Plus, we've got lots of football, as is always the case every week. And one last word before you do go, hop over to our YouTube channel, the Geelong Region Soccer Show YouTube channel. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We've only got a small number, 141, I think it is. We want to get that to 200 by next week at least. On that note, thank you so much once again for being a part of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. And we'll have your company next Monday night at 8 p.m. Bye-bye.